Once again, you are in the mystery library. For a few moments, or maybe even longer, your consciousness faded. Lost in a sea of stars, endless expanding aether, you did not know where your body ended and the air began. What happened? Oh, greetings, my most esteemed guest. I really am pleased to see you again. She is? You were gone for such a long time, I started to wonder. Well, let us just say many souls who find their way here begin to lose a grip on their true identity. When this happens, they are consumed by darkness, and I never see them again. You shiver. While you were gone, you're being consumed by something beyond the void. Was your existence in mortal peril? Is this the price to be paid for not listening to Lycoris' story? But it is not cheerful to dwell on such things. You are here now, and that's all that matters. Shall we continue? Yeah. Hello everyone, my name is Jaybird, and welcome back to Once on a Windswept Night. I have a little bit of food, because I'm hungry. It's just, Oreos. That's food to me now. Just gonna eat one. Anyways. That being said, let's just jump into it. It was Madeline's narrative, and she could choose to present it however she wished, but it was as though she refused, point blank, to accept any negative interpretations of her parents' actions. The traveler had always argued with their family. That had prompted their decision to leave home as soon as possible. Did that mean they were childish? If Madeline had been in their situation, the traveler was sure Madeline would have seen the silver lining. She would not have run away because she was not that kind of person. She was much too stubborn. Her determination to see the world positively was impressive, but at the same time, slightly unsettling. The rain continued to drum against the windows, a gentle pitter-patter like a baby bird's heartbeat. The rain silenced the traveler. It was time for them to listen to Madeline's story. Madeline's story, okay? Oh boy. Wait a minute. Give me 2 minutes. Okay, never mind. You only had to give me one. Okay, give me 2 again. I never knew my mother or father. I was left on the steps of this church when I was but an infant. However, I was never lonely. The nuns who lived in this church were very kind. They cared for me like I was their daughter, though in fact I was a nobody child of mysterious origins. I was a nobody child! Nobody child! They fed and clothed me and gave me a place to sleep. They taught me rudimentary mathematics and how to read and write. Okay. They showed me how to tend the vegetable gardens outside and how to cook and clean. But most importantly of all, they befriended me. They gave me companionship. If it was so important, you should have put it at the start. But anyways, I never felt like I had any reason to feel sad, even if I did not know my parents, because I had already managed to find a wonderful family. They taught me about Lady Madeline and how she must have saved me for some greater purpose. I thought it was horribly self-centered to believe a divine entity had any interest in an unremarkable girl like me, but the sisters persevered. Right? That's how you say it? Preserved. Preserved what? But the sisters preserved, okay? They told me Lady Madeline cared for all of her creations equally. Of all the nuns at the church, however, I was the closest to Bernadette. Bernadette was like a big sister to me. She was 12 years my senior, and I clung to her skirts like a duckling follows their mother since I was old enough to walk. Bernadette was the one who told me the story about our souls and how they came to reside inside our bodies. I was 7 at the time, and there was an awful thunderstorm. The sky was thick with rain, much harder than it is tonight, and the wind whistled so loudly I feared the church would be blown away. I used to be afraid of the dark when I was a child, and I was horribly scared. I could not sleep soundly in my own bed, and so I crept into Bernadette's. I think I woke her, but she did not scold me. Instead, she held me close, patted me on the head, and told me the story about souls. She said that we must face our own problems no matter how scared we are. In retrospect, I do wonder. Maybe she told me the story because she was tired and wanted me to go back to my own bed. I would not blame her if this was the truth, because it was very late at night, and she was awfully patient to put up with me so. In any event, no matter what her reasoning was, the story left quite an impression on me. Bernadette gave me a good deal throughout the years, but I think that tale is the most important gift anybody has ever bequeathed me. That's such a gross word. I am not exaggerating when I say it helped me through some truly tough trials. The goddess is never unfair, but, oh, it can be rather tough. At times I thought I might break, but then I recalled Bernadette's words, and I grit my teeth and tried to get on with it. I had to. My life continued like this, unbroken, for 14 or 15 years. I grew into a young woman, and I continued to live with the nuns. I never interacted with anybody from the outside world, save the travelers who came to the church for refuge and the beggars asking for alms. Though the church is 10 miles from Castella, we had no shortage of visitors. It had a good reputation, and the Mother Superior was renowned as a kindly woman who gave generously. If Daffodil were here, however, she would say it was the Mother Superior's kindliness that was our undoing. Oh, because everyone just took everything and never gave back, and Madeline drew a breath, perhaps attempting to steel herself for the latter half of her tale. She winced.
Oh goodness, this happened 8 years ago, but it still haunts me. Silly. I'm being foolish. If only Daffodil were here to chastise me.
Unsure of what to do, the traveler reached a hand towards Madeline, but they did not feel confident enough to rest it upon her shoulder. It would have been so easy to comfort Madeline if they were Daffodil, but they were not. All the traveler could do was let their arm drop and say softly, "I don't think you're foolish. I think you're strong and noble."
Oh my. You know, flattery will get you nowhere.
I wasn't trying to flatter you.
I wonder. Daffodil is convinced every traveler we accept into our church has wicked designs on my innocence.
What?
She says that they would all propose to me if given half a chance.
I don't know about proposing. I'm not the marrying kind.
Me neither. I am already married.
What? You are?
To Lady Madeline, of course.
Oh, right. Of course.
In any event, I love Daffodil too much to leave her on her own. She gets awfully lonely when I'm not around.
So she has a cute side,
She is very cute. She just doesn't like showing it because she's pig-headed. If she smiled a bit more, I'm sure you would have begged her to keep you other than me.
Well, I don't know about that. She seems rather violent.
Like a little rabbit dog, but she always calms down when I pet her.
Pet her in what way? Madeline giggled. She looked a lot happier than she had done before. I don't know what kind of voice I'm giving her now. I'm just like, should I give her an accent? Should I not? What am I doing? I don't even remember anymore. She really must have loved Daffodil if talking about her cheered her up so completely and instantly. Walala. But the merriment soon faded from Madeline's face as she reconsidered, staring out at one of the stained glass windows. Whee! Madeline's story resumed. Oh boy. One day a traveler came to our church with a mysterious illness. His face was covered in black pustules, and his skin was pasty. He walked with a limp and seemed ready to collapse at any given moment. He said he had been turned away from Castella. The villagers would not allow him to stay, for fear he would infect everyone. By this point, the traveler had lost any hope that he could be cured. His illness was much too advanced for that. He just wanted somewhere to die with a touch more dignity than the side of a road. Some of the sisters were skeptical, but the Mother Superior remained firm. She said it was our duty, as servants of Lady Madeline, to welcome any and all travelers in our church. We nuns followed her orders, of course, and prepared a bed for the traveler so he could die in peace. As he died, he thanked us. I remember that clearly. Though we could do nothing to alleviate his condition, he was thankful from the bottom of his heart. But his presence in the church was like a curse. Within a week of the traveler's death, some of the sisters began to suffer from fatigue. We thought it was a passing illness, but the symptoms persisted until the nuns were inflicted with the same black pustules as the traveler. It all happened so fast, it was unlike anything I had ever seen before. The sisters all fell ill in such a short span of time, and then they couldn't eat or drink, and they suffered mysterious pains. The pustules grew and grew, and when they got too big, they burst. Gross. The smell was indescribable. We nuns who did not succumb tried to help, but we couldn't do a thing. Mother Superior called a physician from Castella, but he could not help either. He had no advice to give other than fresh air and bloodletting, but it made no difference. Within time, even Bernadette, I do not want to dwell on something so miserable. You should know what happened. You can see how desolate the church is now for yourself. The nuns, all of them, every last one, they all died. Shit. Even the Mother Superior. They could have run away and spared themselves, but they did not. They remained, trying desperately to tend to their fellow sisters, though this spelt their own demise. When I first came to this church, there were 11 sisters. In less than a month, only one remained. Me. I do not know why I did not succumb to the sickness. At the time, I wish I had done. I wish I hadn't died with my sisters. They were all the friends and family I had, and without them, without Bernadette, life seemed so hollow, so empty. I was left with corpses, and I did not know what to do with them. I walked to Castello, hoping some of the villagers would help me, but they refused to set foot near the church. I returned, all alone, and set about the task of burying the corpses myself. I could not simply leave them, not after everything they had done for me. It was an act of reverence, but at the same time, it was suicidal. I hoped as I buried the wasted bodies in the churchyard, I would also fall ill. As I dug those graves, I was wondering whether one of them would become mine. But though my mind was weak, my body was stubbornly robust. I dug graves and buried bodies for 3 whole days, working long into the night with little food or rest, but I remained fine. Perhaps perversely, my health was fine. In fact, the cool air brought roses to my cheeks, and the physical labor improved my constitution. I seemed to be growing healthier and healthier, though my family, Bernadette, they would never get back up again. I knew that because I was the one who buried them. Well, shit. No shit! I put their limp, lifeless bodies into those graves and I covered them with dirt. I watched as I filled their open mouths with soil. Oh, okay, you don't need to go into detail about that. I don't need to hear about that. That's gross. Though doing so seemed so unforgivably horrid, I thought I would go to hell. At the time, I hated myself. Why had I survived? Why me? I tormented myself for so long I almost considered taking my own life. If I could not become sick, I could at least slit my throat or pierce my heart with the sliver of glass. I did not care what. I was just so lonely. I was accustomed to always being around others, you see. I had been lucky enough since my birth to always be surrounded by people who loved me, and I fear I had become rather selfish. I wanted to be loved. I was desperate for it, so desperate I could have died. But I remembered the story Bernadette told me, that we should not run from our problems. We should take care not to stay in our souls so we may transcend to a higher plane of existence. I told myself if I took my life, my soul would be blackened and irreparably. And unlike our ancestors from hundreds of years ago, I would not even be able to become a tree. I would just wither and die. So I could not kill myself. I was close to it, but I knew that would be unforgivably selfish. I had vowed to be a nun and to spend my life serving others. What manner of nun would I be if, when faced with hardship, I served only myself? I chose to live. Thanks to Bernadette and my faith and all the love I had been fed within my childhood, until I could not be loved any more than I already was, I was able to survive, and I have never regretted it. Good, because my throat's hurting. Oof. The travelers stared at Madeline, their eyes wide beneath the folds of their hood. Alright, guys. That's gonna be it for this episode. But before we leave, we gotta see if something changes. Card. Yes. Okay, let's have a break. Whee! Let's see if something changed. So you would like to take a break? You can do what you wish, of course, but I would appreciate it if you could return in a timely manner. The story will not read itself, and it, like I, can wait for all eternity. I am a very patient woman, you know? And then everything goes black. I don't like her. I'm suspicious. But anyway, guys, that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode of Once on a Windswept Night and would like to see more of this game, then leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell, and remember, die safely. Bye-bye!